So this is March 6th, 2019, and once again we're back here with Black Disabled Men Talk, and this discussion is going to discuss, what does the Black community need, and what does the Black disabled community need. So today we have a new member, Otiss McLeod, and we also have Keith Jones and Otiss Smith. So we're gonna go around and we're gonna introduce ourselves. Introduce yourselves, who you are, why do you think this is important, and what do you do? So I'm gonna go to Otiss first. Otiss?
I am Otiss McLeod, and a man with cerebral palsy with radical politics. I currently am a PhD student in the Anthropology and Social Change program at California Institute of Integral Studies in San Francisco. I am happy to be here speaking to you gentlemen.
Okay, so let's go down the line. Keith Jones, same question.
Hello, my name is Keith Jones. I'm thankful to be here with you guys. I have radical politics, but like my man, Otiss, I'm an entrepreneur. I run Soul Touching Experiences, which is a amalgamation of all things arts, politics, and community engagement.
My name's Otiss Smith. I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm currently a student working towards my graphic design certificate so I could promote my radical politics. I'm not trying to bite y'all, but so I could promote my radical politics through imagery as well as my poetry. And I think this is important because it shows another side of Black intellectualism that's not oftentimes covered.
Okay, yeah, I'm Leroy Moore. I'm in the Bay Area, Berkeley. Yeah, I'm a Black disabled, I think radical, progressive activist and poet, author, and founder of Krip-Hop Nation. And so glad to be doing this. This is long time overdue to have Black disabled men talk about, our issues and what our community needs and what this political arena needs, So thank you everybody for doing this. It's a we situation, so there's no I in this. So we're gonna go on to a list of questions that we wrote. I have a list, and Otiss has a list. So we're gonna pick one from each list. Well, we're gonna go through all of them, but we're gonna mix and match the questions. And what's gonna happen is I'm gonna ask the questions, and we're gonna go down the line and get answers. Okay? Okay. So the first question is from myself, and the question is, can Black disabled people organize when many of us are working in white disabled organizations? So I'm laying it out there tonight. So Otiss, and we can go down the line. Okay.
Yes, Black people with disabilities can both form our own organizations while continuing to work in mainstream, mostly white-led mainstream disability organizations. We need to be in these mainstream disability organizations so we can direct them in addressing issues that predominantly affects our community, like police violence against people of color with disabilities and people with disabilities and incarceration. We also need to organize to address issues in our own community, like addressing ableism within our interpersonal relationships. I think that Krip-Hop Nation is a good platform to start a
Okay, are you done, Lakeith? Okay, so let's go down to Keith Jones. Same question.
So as being one of those Black people that have worked inside.
We all work inside.
It's one of those who are constantly in the belly of the beast. Like Latif said, it you know, we have to. And just to give real context, not go too long, but having worked at the Independent Living Center when I first started out in this political vein in terms of like being formal, the discussion was, how do we, you know, how come we don't have Black people come to the Independent Living Center? And they were like, let's start our own multicultural Independent Living Center. And when we did it, what happened was exactly what happened. They starved it to death. They gave it just enough to get up, but not enough to run, not enough to function. And I think here now in this context of organizing and what we need to do to organize, we have organizations. We suffer from one of those things where we know what we need to do and we can do it. There just has never been that real one thing to coalesce around, or even that one person to have to do who's just damned and dogged to go do what they got to do. And I think the classic example of us always being on the outside looking in is exactly this quote new disability rights movement that has nothing to do with anything related to the intersection of ethnicity and disability.
Okay, Curtis. Are you Otiss?
I think yes. I think because they got the resources, so you have to go where the resources at. But like Keith said, that we have to do it in a certain way. 'Cause I think the most dangerous things Black people do when we do integrate into other people's organization is we leave our politics behind and we adopt theirs. And usually their politics ain't really beneficial to us. They're not really addressing our issues, at least not our issues particularly or directly, like the article sent you about the Black disabled activists and how they was pumping up Hillary Clinton, because I guess Hillary Clinton was trying to speak to the disabled community last election. But as a Black man, for me to get behind Hillary Clinton, knowing how detrimental she is to the Black collective, is counterintuitive, it's counterproductive. So although it benefits them, it does not benefit me. So I could join the organization, but I have to understand that their objective 9 times out of 10 is not my objectives. You feel me? So I think we have to create a fine line of I'm here for the resources, that's it, that's all, but my political ideologies will not merge with you because your interests completely conflicts with my interests. Even if we're both disabled, still being a white disabled individual, you still get more benefits. You still get a benefit of being white in the system of white supremacy. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go on this. At 51, I think no, we don't need to work with them. Because from my experience, I've done that all through my teenage years, and all through my 20s, and all through my 30s, and now 51. there's still not a Black disabled organization. Yeah, there's a National Black Disability Coalition, which I'm a part of. But, you know, and besides that, and besides the Harry Tubman collective that's on the internet, that's the only thing. And we're in 2019. I think we get stuck in working for these organizations because these organizations have all the resources and can pay, you know, salaries, you know. And I think it's just time to break out of that mode, because if we don't do it, it's going to be another 10 years, and another 10 years of thinking that we can do piecemeal to really fix our community. And also all those disability organizations really don't teach or don't support Black organizations. And for me, I've spent 30 years educating on disabled organizations, and I turn around and like, oh my God, Leroy, you haven't spent any time dealing with Black organizations. So that's why I think in the last 10 years, I switched my focus. I was like, you know, I need to really focus on educating, or at least putting out some kind of awareness that we're here to Black organizations. And I know it's tough because it's hard to get stung by your own community, you know. But I really think at this time, we definitely need more and more people to come out of these white disabled organizations and really do education in the Black community. And I know today is not, is not feasible because everybody's looking for a check. You know, everybody's looking for a pat on the back. And that's not going to come from these newly Black disabled organizations, which have no money, that have no grants. You know, we barely get any notion from Black Lives Matter. You know, they don't talk about disability. So, yeah. So I can go on and on. So, yeah. So that's the first question. Going on to one of Latif's questions is, what can we do as Black people with disabilities to bridge an understanding gap with the larger African American community around disability politics and ableism? So I'm gonna go to, should I go to you, Latif, or should I give you more time?
More time.
I can go. Black disabled activists need to organize political education meetings in our community where we can educate people about disability politics at churches, mosques, and community centers. Black Act, I think first thing on our platform would be to end this system of ableism, capitalism, patriarchy. Eastem of ableism, capitalism, heteropatriarchy, and white supremacy as soon as possible. Then we can figure out how to live with each other in a more equitable and sustainable way. Activists with disabilities needs to be honest with the ableism that we see in our community and offer ways to solve this problem. We need to actively search my bad my responses rip on responses got mixed up. Can you come back to
Yeah, we can come back to you, Latif.
Yeah. All right, Keith.
All right, so there's how do we do it? How do we bridge together? Well, first of all, it's a little more complicated than just disability. I mean, the people we're talking about, we grew up in the hood, right? So we grew up in blackness. We grew up in, and we have to be clear about which black are we talking about, right? Because there's diaspora black that understand what that means. And then there's I rediscovered my African roots, so I'm rejecting every concept of blackness, black. And then there's, oh, wait a minute, I discovered a new religion, black. Then there's no, I'm gonna get along with the white folk, black. And then there's the other black, and then, oh no, you're not black enough, black. And I'm not quite black, but I'm this kind of black, so let's be black. So all of that to be, and the crazy part is that every social movement that involves people of color, particularly those of African descent, and you need to be specific, because when you talk about the black community, black people have a schism now, because depending on what part of the country you're in, they're either, I'm black, but I'm Caribbean black. So your blackness don't really, your shit really, your stuff doesn't really bother me, right? Because I got my stuff back home because I'm sending money back to my home country. How do we bridge the gap? Well, first we have to acknowledge that there's a gap. And black churches don't want to do that because we worship on Sunday. You roll up in the wheelchair, can you get into the door, right? Talk about mosques, you know, everybody was like, Keith, you need to be a black Muslim to sell bean pies. I can't get into the mosque. If I'm a black Jew, can I get into the synagogue? So the places where we meet or that have cultural relevance to our community are first and foremost just inaccessible. And I will reject any notion where we need to educate black people about stuff that they already know. Now, whether or not you acknowledge ableism in the community, because when it was like in our families, we are who we are, but out on the street, then it's, oh, you know, what up, bruh? Then it gets weird. But and it's a strange kind of dichotomy how we don't, you know, as a black man, you know, like you say, Black Lives Matter. As a black man with a disability who's doing this stuff, I should not have to convince the NAACP that disability and ADA justice is a civil rights issue when it comes to people of color. I should not have to go to, the Urban League, and then we have to reissue a whole separate report on the state of Black disabled America. Because even when they issue the reports on the state of Black America, they don't include us. And if the incidents of disability are 4 to 5 times more prevalent within the Black and the Latino community, then the reason we're having difficulty is not because we haven't said it for a long time. There's a phrase that I use, it's called chosen stupidity. And if you choose to be stupid about the social issues that are facing your community, ableism, sexism, employment, all these Black kids getting tracked off into special education, right? So how do you not know that disability is an issue within the Black community? And you claim to be a Black intellectual, and you claim to be alert, and you claim, if I hear that word woke one more time, I'm swinging on somebody. But I just said that because, the way you asked the question, Lateef, and the way you phrased it, is that yes, we can, but the one thing that disability does, and then I'll stop, is that our existence makes everybody understand their mortality. And what that does is when they look at us, they go, but for the grace of God, there go I. Right? So it's not so much, can we do it or will we do it? People can't get out of their own way to accept us. So I think we can do it, but we have to be a little more realistic about what the makeup of our community is.
Well, I guess it's my turn. I agree with Keith wholeheartedly, especially about that word woke. Like, what the hell does woke mean now? Like, you just know a whole lot of information, but obviously you don't understand it because everything they doing seems to be effective. So how are you woke? And I think the thing I have a gripe with when it comes to quote unquote Black power is that it's directed to us trying to justify our humanity to non-Black people. You feel me? And that's why Black people so easily seek alliances outside of the Black community versus seeking alliances within our own community. Like, we could easily look past any beef we have to link up with this group who have stabbed us in the back consistently. But when it comes to my own group of people, or I got beef with you because you don't worship the same God I worship, or I got beef with you because you don't look like me. Like, we seek the most minute things to not link up. Now, if it's a legitimate gripe I have with you because you betrayed the people and yada, 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 then I understand. But when it's something so petty, like because we have minute differences that you want to focus on, that tells me you're not really seeking unity. You feel me? Black power is not Black power. It's I'm trying to get myself in a better position. That's about it. You feel me? And that's why we go out of our way to try to show them our humanity. Even like, let's just take, for example, Wakanda Forever, right? Like something as trivial as that. I wasn't down with it. I'm like, okay, 1 minute y'all telling me it's a movie, next minute y'all telling me it's a movement. Which one is it? And then come to find out, the whole movement was about showing white Hollywood how lucrative Black movies are. But you just told me that you don't need white validation, so I'm confused. Which one is it? You should have known that your Blackness is more valuable than they telling you, but you need them to know that, hey, you're a commodity that they can make a couple millions off of. You feel me? So Black power, like Keith said, like woke don't mean shit. Black power is about Black people trying to prove their humanity to people who don't give a shit. And so they rather look outside of their community versus looking inside their community and linking up with those like-minded individuals. That's why when it comes to this and what Black disabled people do, I don't want it to diverge into that. Well, now we on the fence and we gotta justify our humanity to them. I don't want that shit. You feel me? Or they having a disability awareness week and the able-bodied people in wheelchairs now, and they know our struggle now. Ain't brought nothing in, ain't changed nothing, no policy changes or some shit to make you feel good. You feel me? To someone to justify my existence. Like, I'm not about that. You feel me? So I think the Black disabled community can do it, but we have to do it in a way where we're not trying to justify our existence, and let them know we are Black disabled intellectuals, and either you go value our intellectualism or we go keep it pushing. But I'm not about to justify my existence to you. I'm not doing that. Feel me? So I just don't want to. I don't want to go down that path, and that's why I'm really not messing with a whole lot of our movements. So as long as we balance the fence, I feel like it can be done. Feel me? Yeah, that's about it.
All right. So, Latif, are you ready, or should I go next?
You go next.
Okay.
And I will go after. Can you go next and I will go after?
Okay, great. So, once again, the question is, what can we do as Black disabled people to bridge an understanding gap with the larger African American community around disability politics and ableism? I totally agree with everybody's been saying so far, and I totally agree that it has to happen. And I think in the little pockets, it is happening. I mean, that's what we're doing here. So in little pockets, it is happening. I think, really we need to go back and really think about, the Black community and what they learned about disability, because, disability, of course, was a sin, and under slavery, it was killed, and Jim Crow, we got lynched, and we got separated. So really, the Black community never had empowerment education around Black disabled people. Even the disability rights movement, never gave us that because it was run by mainly white middle class disabled people. So the Black community is way far behind when you talk about disability, and also the view of being politically disabled is clueless when it comes to disability. When it comes to the Black community, the Black community only sees disability as a service, getting something, or a hush hush issue. That's it. They don't see the culture, they don't see the politics, they don't see the history, they don't see the arts. There's all they see is services. What can my son and daughter get? Or it's a hush hush issue. So I think it is really up to, what we're doing to put it in the political and cultural arenas. Otiss with your artwork, Keith with your hip hop, Latif with your writing, I think our generation is really reaching out to other Black people and saying, "Come on, let's do this," because I think other generations, stayed in their little corners and never had the access to talk to each other. So I think that's what we're doing now. And I think the Black community just needs a club outside its head. We just need to club them constantly. How can you write the new Jim Crow book and don't mention that Jim Crow, the person, had a disability? We need to constantly put that out. And I know we do it, in our own ways, but yeah, I think the Black community, needs to see disability as a whole total different viewpoint, culturally, politically, radically, internationally, you could say Pan-Africanism, or any kind of Africanism. I've seen Black disabled people do amazing stuff in Africa, Brazil, and we're not connecting to each other. So, I think it needs to happen. It is happening, and I think that we need to just hit them harder and constantly, over and over and over again. And I know that's hard because it is isolating, and it's hard when you get stung by your own people. But yeah. So I'll shut up and I'll go to Latif. Latif.
This problem, and going off what Keith says, being out Black disabled activists need to organize political education meetings in our community where we can educate people about disability politics at churches, mosques, and community centers. Black activists with disabilities needs to be honest with the ableism that we see in our community and offer ways to solve this problem. And going off what Keith says, being Afro-Caribbean and Black, there is a conflict with being a part of an immigrant community that is trying to assimilate and being disabled and in some ways not being able to assimilate. My bad for the delay, guys. We need to actively search out.
I agree. I don't mean to step on your toes, but I think that's one of the reasons we have to do this, what we're doing now. And the irony is that having a daughter whose mother was fully Haitian, but born in America, and then having the conversation, and having a disability, but having the discussion about, well, we're Haitian, you're Black American. And that's and that's why, so when Black folks talk about Blackness, we really, really, really don't, there's no universal concept of their Blackness. It's more of it's a melanin count, but is it a cultural thing? Is it a food thing? Is it a religious thing? Is it a social context thing? Because once we get here, if we're talking about activism and social justice, just like on the things that's going on Twitter, but we keep forgetting that people are really not comfortable with saying they Black. Like Boricuas don't like saying that they have Black in them, right? Like if you Dominican and you Black, oh my God, of course everybody in their mama call right now. If you're Dominican and Black, oh Lord, if you're Dominican and Black and doing all that stuff, if you sit on the border of Haiti and Dominican Republic, like there, you just said it, Leroy, African and Brazilian and all this stuff. The moment you say Black, no, I'm not Black. I eat rice and peas and stewed curry. I'm Jamaican, right? Like coconut milk and all that. I ain't black. So I just had to say that because I think that's the part where, you know, if we can't have a universal conception of what is blackness, then it's really going to be hard for people to be like, you know, let's unify the black community.
I want to add to what Keith said. Like, if you look at our current political strategy now, it's to declassify ourselves as black legally and classify ourselves as white. To me, like, that's our new political strategy now. As if that worked for OJ, because OJ did it too, and Tiger Woods did it too. And the white boy came in like, you still a nigga, and we still trying to adopt a strategy that does not work. Or you could take Israel, you could take the Philistine Jews and how they was fighting for citizenship in Israel, and they got it. But guess what? They still getting treated as black people, although they're classified as Jews, just like the white Jews are. So obviously classification is not what's going to save you. Do you have the ability to protect yourself? Yes or no? And because black people don't have the ability to protect ourselves, what we do is, well, why do you attack me? Well, you attack me because of my hairstyle? Okay, let me cut my hair off, or let me tie it up. Oh, why do you attack me? You attack me because of my religion. You call it paganism. Okay, well, let me drop off African spirituality and pick up Christianity and Islam. Why do you attack me? Oh, you attack me because my blackness. Okay, let me disassociate from my blackness and now classify myself as white. When you gonna realize they attack you because they attack you, period. And even if you give up your identity, one, you're giving up power. Because to me, the definition of power is being able to define who you are and not allowing other people to transgress against that. So if your definition, I am a black, yada, 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 and that's how you define yourself, when the white boy come in, it's like, no, you a white, you a nigga today, and you start calling yourself a nigga, that's not power. Because now you're using his definition of who you are and you applying it to yourself just to get along. You feel me? And then let's talk about nationalities. So we got a lot of African Americans talking about, well, everybody got a nationality besides us. All right, cool. But how did everyone else get their nationality? From the Belgium Conference. Because the Europeans, what they did is they took bits and pieces of Africa and they created artificial borders and they renamed the people that was in that region. So we are not the only people who have identity issues. Everyone do. If you're looking from a world history, almost every group of people, African people, really don't know who they are. We're in the same bandwagon. White colonialism is a global institution. But what do white people say? No, your struggle is different from the Haitian struggle. The Haitian struggle is different from the Dominicans. You feel me? The Togolese struggle is different from the Nigerians. And why do they do that? So they could keep you beefing with each other while they robbing your ass blind. I mean, Dr. Chancellor Williams talked about that in his book, The Destruction of Black Civilization, where you have European scholars or European historians who will come through and they will focus on the minute difference of African people. They will focus on the ethnicity that separates the African people and not the culture that unites the African people. And by focusing on the different ethnicities, you really think they're separate people. No. When you really start breaking it down, we have a lot more in common than we do in differences. But because the white boy focus on the difference, you want to focus on the difference, and you want to claim that as black empowerment. When it's not. You just going with his definition of your ass. So how the fuck is that, excuse me, how is that power? You feel me?
Yeah, I feel you. I want to add on to that. I know we get out the questions, but this is good. You know, with all that, you know, argument in the good conversation is that at that table, once again, we're not at that table. You know, the black elites, the black non-disabled people are at that table. We can't even climb up to the seat at that table because in all situations they think that disability is not even human in different countries. So it's like, yeah, we can fit some theories from, Black Power or Pan-Africanism or ODS or whatever. But when we look at our own situation as Black disabled people, we either left out in those conversations. So what does that mean? I mean, we're fighting for that kind of conversation, but we're not even thought of in those conversations. So I just wanted to put that. I mean, we can just go off on each other, forget other questions. Have a if it's accessible to Latif, we can continue to do that. But
Yes.
we can go back to the questions too if you want. I'm just gonna wait for Latif.
Okay. With either or either way, I like the way this convention conversation is going, especially in reclaiming what Black Blackness mean to us, because I know I am B. Black, African, whether if other others in the diaspora want to claim me or not I am okay with either way. I like the way this conversation is going, especially in reclaiming what blackness means to us, because I know I am Black African, whether if others in the diaspora want to claim me or not.
Right? Right? Exactly. And that is, bruh, can you say it one more time for the people in the back? Cause
Please.
man, can you say it to the people? So, because again, the diaspora, right? Like everybody, so you got ADAR, you got, the descendant of African states, you got all within I mean, if we go global, it's global. But if you contextualize here in the United States, what can you name a significant African American or Black movement now besides Black Lives Matter? Like, is there a legitimate, significant movement pushing people of color, particularly African Americans or Black folks? There is none. What has happened is everybody's turned into, I'm gonna pull it back before I say what happened. You can just look at it on TV. Oh, Lord Jesus, we got all these disabled people. We got all these diversified candidates running for the Democratic presidential. Oh, Lord Jesus, look, we got Negro women, we got white women, we got women, we got men women. Okay, cool. Here's the irony. Today, they had to delay a vote on the floor to censure a Muslim American House of Representatives, and they cloaked it in a resolution to rebuke anti-Semitism. Now, here's the problem. Are you talking about, let's just play with that game. Are you talking about European descendant Jews? Or are you talking about the Jews that been the Benjamin Netanyahu and the Labour Party, as well as the coalition party, just, I don't know, had 30 years of sterilization, and then they evacuated and they expelled all the Ethiopians? Like, which Jew are you trying to protect from anti-Semitism? So if you can be an ethnic Jew and have melanin and then come to this country, no, when they look at you, they don't see your Jewishness. Wearing traditional, what they would consider traditional Jewish garb. But if you're in Africa and you're an original Jew, is that the same garb? If you're a person of color here, and we're talking about solidarity and what we need to do to move forward, we can't get past getting to church. You go to church, oh, Mother Harold, thank you for bringing your baby. Oh, Lord Jesus, let's pray for him. Lord, heal his hands. So now you've adopted the religion that says it's okay to enslave us. And then you adopt the religion that says God doesn't make a mistake, but then you want him to heal my disability because I'm so bad. This is why we are having difficulty having any kind of unification within the Black community, particularly when it comes to Black and disability issues.
Yeah, I want to go in. I want to ask what Keith said. Again, that goes back to Black people trying to justify their humanity to other groups of people. So whatever the other group says is okay, just to get along, to go along, we'll say it's okay too. So if other groups say, well, the problem is you talking to Ebonics, well, we need to stop talking to Ebonics, y'all. If the other group said the problem is your ghetto names, your hood names, well, you need to stop naming your daughter them ghetto names. If the other group said the problem is your blackness, well, y'all, we need to get rid of our blackness. And so, again, that goes back to us trying to justify our humanity and our existence to other group of people when these groups have literally went across the entire planet, mass murdering, raping millions upon millions of our ancestors. But you go turn around and tell me I gotta justify my existence to them? Like, you know how crazy it was? Like, because this Black thing, it got me thinking, like, what is power? Like, what is quote unquote Black power? Is it trying to make statements to people who don't care? trying to get them to see your point of view? Is it stating the obvious as if they don't know? Like, you gotta understand, this system existed over 400 years. So at this point, either you're really bad at communicating your disposition, or they just don't care. If they don't care, then you need to let go and figure out a new strategy, because they obviously don't recognize your humanity. You feel me? So this reclassification program, or this reclassification politics, or re-identifying ourselves, is not a new strategy. We have done that numerous of times where we identified ourselves to fit them. And that has never worked. Whether we're talking about the plantation, where we took on master names, guess what? We were still on the plantation. Or whether we're talking about Israel, when the black Jews try to identify themselves with the white Jews. Okay, but guess what? They got a genocide going on right now. So that classification is not helping nobody. What you need to do is embrace your blackness, to find who you are, and fight for that. You feel me? Because they don't care. You feel me? I think we're beyond that point of trying to, well, maybe they just don't understand. No, they understand. They just don't care. You feel me? And I think that's why I'm kind of cautious about saying Black people should only speak on Black history, because white people, far from what you might think, they have a better understanding of Black history than most Black people do. While we running around here trying to justify our humanity to them, they studying our revolutionaries. They're studying our history. That's how they stay 1 foot ahead of us, because they actually studying what we already did. They studying W.E. Du Bois' Why I Will Not Vote. They studying Frantz Fanon. They studying Dr. Huey P. Newton. I was at the museum, and a white lady brought books in of black books. Two of them was one of them was Western Slavery, and the other one was Dr. Huey P. Newton, The Spirit of a Panther. I'm like, this is deep. So while I'm studying Dr. King, I have a dream my children to go to school with your children. You studying our real revolutionaries. And then if you look at their movies are the archetype of Black radical thinking. That's why they resonate with Black people. Like, have you ever seen a movie like that? Reminds me of a Black person. I can't put it on it, but that reminds me of Dr. Not Dr. but Marcus Garvey. That reminds me of Nat Turner. That reminds me of Denmark Vesey. Like, y'all going through our history and y'all picking our heroes and y'all villainizing them. But in order to villainize them, you have to study them. And I think that's one of the biggest problems in the Black community. We don't study radical Black politics. They do. And so while they pretend to be ignorant and while they pretend to be naive about the situation, they have a far better understanding of the situation than we do, at least collectively. That's why if you piss a white person off, they gonna tell you the truth. I'm like, I knew you knew that. Like, you remember that video where the white guy got arrested in the airport? And he said, you treated me. You remember that? I tell you right then and there, they already know what's up. So while you over here still trying to explain your humanity to them, they already know. They just don't care. So I think we just got to find our own self-identity. You feel me? And fight for that. Till then, we're going to keep going in circles.
Yeah, I agree. And I also recognize that, you know, it's their country. It's the white man's country. So they can be radical in their country. We be radical and we find ourselves poor, you know, not included in the conversation because they run the country. You know, that's why a lot of I think Randallson, he's a Black author. He had to leave the U.S. to do his radical writings because he couldn't do it here. You know, Tommy J. Curry, another Black professor, I really like his stuff that deals with Black men and seeing Black men as, you know, being assaulted and sexually abused and really taking on, you know, the bitterness and how people see Black men. He could not get a job in the U.S. He accepted a job in Germany because his studies are so, quote unquote radical, but needed because he's studying Black men and not being tricked into this, male men, Black male, toxic, kind of framework. So even with that situation, he has to leave the country to continue his studies as a Black professor. So yeah, we can be radical, but we're not going to be accepted in this white academic activism or any kind of avenue. And I'm not saying that we, sell out and do other stuff. We all here are doing our own stuff and are, doing our own radical, progressive kind of, art and activism. But we have to be real and saying that, yeah, white people can be radical because it's their country. they're not gonna be, silenced because the system, helps them out. So yeah, it's kind of sad to say, but it's real. That's why you had James Baldwin that lived in Paris, and you had Paul Robeson that went overseas because in the U.S. it's such restrictive when it comes to Black people really talking about radical issues, not a Ford Foundation grant, but going radical about it. So yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna go to the question, or your mic cut off. Oh.
Latif, are you ready to talk?
Look what they did to Paul Robeson and the Black Panthers. America has never tolerated Black radical radicalism at all. But we can go back to the questions if people want tolerated Black radicalism at all, but we can go back to the questions if people want.
Let's take two more questions and we can wrap it up. Is that okay with everybody?
Yep.
I'm good with that.
Okay. Once again, thank you for doing this. And this is gonna be a monthly thing. So yeah, so we can keep on, doing these videos. So I'm gonna take another question from Latif. I really like your questions, Latif. So I'm gonna go to number 3 with Latif. Like, how can we offer allyship to Black feminist disability structure as Black men with disabilities? So, Keith, you want to take that first?
Sure. And you know, I find it kind of funny that Latif, thank you for the question. Now, I have to chuckle, you psychic, because the question that you posed is in the background of one of the work that I'm doing is working with the Women of Color Network to bring accessibility to sexual violence and assault for women of color, right? Black women of color. So all of this policy work we're talking about, even in victim services, all right, there's still an ableism. Even in victim services, there's racism. Even in victim services, there's a hierarchy of victimization. Like, I never thought that, like, who compared, I'm a victim. No, I'm a victim. No, I'm a victim. Like, you know, we all have victims. So the way you offer allyship is, first of all, we have to acknowledge that endemically we are allies. Black men don't exist without Black women, right? Black mothers raise Black sons. Black fathers make Black daughters, raise Black daughters. I got 4 daughters. So I have to be a Black feminist. Like, I needed to be engaged in the fact that as much as everybody's rah-rah and pom-poms about Planned Parenthood and saving Planned Parenthood, if my daughter has a disability and she wants to go get services at Planned Parenthood is not accessible for her to even get up on the examination table. So if you're talking about sex education, if my daughter has a disability or has a developmental disability, they instantly don't think that she has enough cognitive awareness to be even aware that she has a right to be a sexual being. So how do we offer allyship? The way that you offer allyship is to be present, number 1, right? And number 2 is to say, I am a Black man. And here's the thing. If you offer allyship to a feminist and she goes, you don't really understand because you're a man, then you know what, fuck you. Excuse my phrase, but you don't need me to be an ally because you're not looking for an ally. What you're looking for is a pansy, because you would acknowledge that a father with daughters needs to be a feminist ally if he loves his children. You would know that as a Black man who doesn't exist without a Black woman needs to be a feminist ally. But at the same time, one of the rubs that we have is that Black women or Black feminist allies, or if they want us, are they beholden to that trope about Black men? You know what that trope is. There are no good Black men. Black men, you know, and when they do get successful, they don't want Black women. So the moment you offer allyship, you have to make sure that it's true in nature to the person, that the person you're offering it to is authentic. Because you would think that, Leroy, you being in the Bay Area, Latif, you being in the Bay Area, being at the home of the genesis of Black Lives Matter, and 7 in 10 victims of gun violence or police brutality are people with disabilities, and 8 out of 10 of those are people of color. So the natural ally would be Black Lives Matter, right? No. And again, is your allyship being offered to somebody who's authentic? And you really don't know it. You can offer it, but you won't know if that person is authentic until it's time to engage in the issue where your allyship is needed. Because it shouldn't be Black men arguing with Black women about whether or not we're good men or not. That argument that's a null and void argument. That means you've been brainwashed, or you done got caught up in very non-traditional stereotypes of what Black men should be, right? But in terms of allyship, we have beautiful allies. But the question is, you pose the question to them: how can I help you best? Me as a Black man who is the son of a Black woman and the father of a Black woman, how can I be the best ally to you in your feminist ways? Right? And that's probably the best way to answer it. And the last thing would be to realize that feminism in America is not for women of color. Because women of color are still on the margins when you talk about feminism in America. That is a middle class white woman's issue. If you don't believe, go back and check the news. All the women's marches, hooray. All right, well then how come all the Black women and Latino women are still making less than the white women in this equity march? Right? If you're worried about Planned Parenthood, how come there's still a racial disparity in services? So again, allyship is there. We offer it to people from an authentic place, and then we'll know whether or not they're authentic in receiving our allyship by how they interact with us.
I guess it's my turn. Well, going back to what Keith said and what I said about Black people, everything we do is about justifying our humanity to somebody else. I feel like if I have to fight to justify my humanity to anybody, it should be to Black women. You feel me? If anybody on this planet deserves me fighting to show you that I understand your pain, I understand your struggle, it should be Black women, not these other groups. You feel me? And one of the biggest problems we got is when it comes to other groups of people, we over simplify the problem in order to justify our quote unquote alliance. When it comes to each other, we over complicate the problem in order to say, well, the worst place for a Black man to be is in a Black woman's womb. You feel me? Because the number one killer of Black baby is abortions. Okay, cool. But if you analyze the problem deeper, the reason why they gave you that narrative is to demonize Black women. You feel me? So you no longer focusing on the social issues. You no longer focusing on the economical issues. You no longer focusing on the outside factors that would involve a woman deciding to have an abortion. Instead, you're focusing on her. You feel me? And the conservatives played that card when Trump was first running. You had white boys out here talking about the most dangerous place for a Black child to be in a Black woman's womb. Right before that, Tamir Rice got shot. But yet you still have Black men jumping on that bandwagon. So now we no longer focusing on white supremacy. Now the Black woman's the number one target. To me, you don't see how they play you. And then you got the other group on the other side who do push abortion and who do push the fact we need to lower our birth rate because we're adding to the economical woes of society. Those who can't take care of a baby shouldn't be having it. So they're catching us on both sides. Well, because we're picking sides, not realizing we're getting screwed by both the conservatives and we're getting screwed by the liberals. It's like, you know what? I think the problem is a whole lot more deeper than what it appears to be. But again, when it comes to each other, we oversimplify the problem and say, oh, look, the problem is you, Black woman. Or, oh, look, the problem is you, Black man. No, like, I've been brainwashed just like you've been brainwashed. So I have adopted this white man's definition of masculinity and I perpetuate it on you. You feel me? But again, we're more patient with other people than we are with each other. And that's one of the biggest issues, I think. And because just like Malaya Obama, President Obama's daughter, right? Did y'all see that meme where people was going in that this Black woman was dating a white boy? Like, that's your argument? So y'all not focused on the fact that her daddy dismantled 7 different African countries. Y'all not focusing on that. Y'all not focusing on Guantanamo Bay is still in operation. When he said he was a closer, y'all not focusing on that. Y'all not focused on the fact he signed a contract to give Israel $38 billion over a span of 10 years. No, y'all focusing on the fact his daughter got a white man. And this memory that does absolutely nothing, only go create an artificial beef between Black women and Black men. For me, I am not gonna fight my sister over this dumbass memory when Obama's don't give a damn about me anyways. I don't give a damn who she date. Like, you feel me? Her father's white, he just looked Black. You feel me? Like, so I think we gotta be cautious and we gotta be patient about the battles we jump in, especially when it comes to Black men and Black women, because we listen to each other not to understand each other, but we listen to respond. You feel me? So when you speak, I'm not listening to your pain not coming from your voice. I'm listening to what's the best way I could get back at you for what you said. And when you listen to me, you're not listening to the pain and sincerity that's coming from my voice. You're listening to, well, what's the best way I could get back at him? You feel me? And I think the insincerity, because this insincerity energy, that's come from white people. Like this artificial energy we have, this come from white people. Like we are some sincere people. We're genuine people. And I feel like this insincerity we have in communicating with each other is one of the most detrimental things to hit the Black woman and the Black man. I feel like we gotta go back to sincerely caring about each other. You feel me? I may not like what you're saying, but what you're saying is real. Yeah, I'm gonna respect it. You feel me? You may not like what I'm saying, but if what I'm saying is real, then just fall back and respect it. And let's see, we may not fix everything about each other, but let's see what we can fix. You feel me? So I think we gotta go back to being sincere with one another, especially with the Black man and the Black woman. Oh, that's it. Am I on mute? Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go next. Is that okay, Latif? Okay. I think we can be allies, but I think we have to be realistic about Black men. You know, Black men have been shut out for the discussion of, and I bring it up again, Tommy J. Curry. You know, nobody wants to have Black male studies, but we want to be allies to our Black women. It's like, how can we be allies if we can't even be real in the Black community that Black men need to study themselves, need to talk about issues of rape against Black men, you know, need to talk about issues of Black disabled men, you know, being on the last totem pole. You know, I mean, you need to really talk about what does this so-called hyper masculinity, you know, what does the term come from, you know? And I think if we can't have those conversations, we can't even have a Black male studies, and you know, we go back to Tommy J. Curry, you know, he has to go out of the country just to get a job just to write about Black male studies. So that tells me right there, you know, how can I be an ally and you're not welcoming me all the way in? You're not willing to study my situation as a Black male in this country. Yeah, I would love to be an ally to you. I want to be an ally to you. But I also want to recognize that a lot of education that we get from these institutions, and those shape how we look at Black males, and most of those views are totally wrong, you know. So I was like, yeah, we need to be allies, but at the same time, you know, communities, institutions in this country need to be open to say that Black males need to not only study themselves, but to reframe their view on what society views them. Because if we don't have the power to do that, then we really can't be allies, you know? Because it's gonna be a constant wall. You know, it's gonna say, okay, should I hide my masculinity just to be a support to feminists? No. I should carry my masculinity and carry, Black women's issues at the same time. So that I think for me, that's the issue. I don't think this country is ready for it. I think Tommy J. Curry is a example of it. Like I said, he had to go to Germany to do Black male studies. It's like, what, in the year 2019? To get abused by quote unquote Black feminists, bell hooks and everybody, because he wants to talk about Black males as being abused, so yeah, we have a lot of ways to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Latif, it's all about you.
We need to listen to our Black women with disabilities and the issues that they face and offer solidarity to combat some of these issues. Black women with disabilities have to be in the leading role in addressing these issues with us in a supporting role. And we as men, of course, need to be Black feminists because of the state of attack confronting Black women with the state of white supremacy and patriarchy in society, as Keith so eloquently stated.
That's what's up. Because I never really understood how, like, what is the definition of masculinity, right? Like, what is a man? Like, what is that, right? What is the defining role of a male? Now, if you take a Eurocentric patriarchal view, you're right, or are you taking a traditional West African village view? Are you taking a traditional Central African view? Like, what is masculine? And all, and everybody's like, I don't want to be no bitch. I ain't know this, I ain't know that, I ain't know this. It does, like, what is that? Because a real human is in connection with their feelings. A real human has no fear. A man, I don't need to cry to show you that I'm feeling it, but if a tear roll down my cheek, I'm no bigger bitch than I was before the tear rolled down my cheek. Now, and I'll use that phrase because that's the terminology people will be using once they see as a male, you are expressing your emotion, right? And so in the Black community, we have to get over this. There's this, our homophobia, our transphobia, our ableism. You can't talk about being pro-Black and for the cause and have any other isms on your plate. You just can't do it. And if you do, then shut the hell up and don't talk to me.
Yeah, I want to add to what Keith said, that we really got to define masculinity, especially like when you think alpha male and beta male. Those are literally Greek alphabets. So the way you define masculinity is based off the Greek interpretation of masculinity. And you know anything about Greek culture, that's not the type of masculinity you want to duplicate. You know what I mean? And we ask this question, when do Black boys or Black children lose their humanity? When do they get demonized? And we don't realize the connection is by demonizing the Black mother, anything she produced by default automatically lose its humanity. For me, let's take the opioid crisis, for example, that's hitting the white community hard. Notice they never call them white women crackheads, do they? But they call our women crackheads. Feel me? Black women are not the #1 welfare recipients. White women are. But they never call their women welfare queens, do they? They call our women that. You feel me? They don't call their women bad wenches. They don't call their women thoughts. They don't call their women hoes, although they're the most promiscuous women. They label our women that. Why? Because by demonizing the Black woman, anything she produced, therefore, is demonized by default. You feel me? So you don't lose your humanity, Black man, when you hit puberty. You lose your humanity even before you come out your mother's womb, because she lost her humanity. You feel me? And because we don't see that interconnectedness, well, masculinity and femininity, they are not fighting. That's the white man's definition and stuff. They work as one. You feel me? Darkness and light, they work as one. They are not enemies. But because we are trying to imitate the white man, we think they're suddenly beefing. And again, I think the only way we could save ourselves is not by losing our Blackness, but regaining our African mind to understand your left brain and your right brain, they are not enemies with each other. Your logic and your emotions are not enemies with each other. You feel me? Like you need all of them in order to be a functional human being. You feel me? And that's what we're trying to be. There's a lot of questions that European society is still trying to answer, like the place of a woman. Do a woman belong on the battlefield? Well, if you study African history, we already answered that question. Can a woman rule a civilization? Well, if you study African history, we already answered that question. Why are we asking the same question? Oh, that's right. We gotta make white people problems our problems. You feel me? We already solved a lot of this confusion, but because we're trying to imitate white folks, we're thinking like white folks. So we regurgitate the same thing they do. But again, we got to regain our African mind. And African mind says, without the Black woman, I'm nothing. You feel me? There's a reason why we named the woman our throne, our set. You feel me? Because we knew where the power was. When we left her, that's when we left our power. So.
All right, so we're gonna go to Latif, and we're gonna make one more round before we end it. So, Latif, take it away, and I'll introduce the one more round before we end it. Okay.
I thought I answered on Black femininity.
Okay. So we can
I
oh.
can play it again if you want.
Yeah, play it one more time for us. Yeah.
We need to listen to our Black women with disabilities and the issues that they face and offer solidarity to combat some of these issues. Black women with disabilities have to be in the leading role in addressing these issues with us in a supporting role. And we as men, of course, need to be black feminists because of the state of attack confronting black women with the state of white supremacy and patriarchy in society, as Keith so eloquently stated. And I think we need to learn more about our gender identity as both black women and men with disabilities, because in this dominant culture, we don't get enough guides to learn how to be in the world, because we are treated as afterthoughts. So we are winging it when forming our identity in some instances. And I think we need to learn more about our gender identity as both black women and men with disabilities, because in this dominant culture, we don't get enough guides to learn how to be in the world because we are treated as afterthoughts. So we are winging it when forming our identity in some instances.
Yep.
Yep, agree. So we're gonna end it with one more question, and we're gonna try to make your answers, you know, sort of, if we can. Yeah. So the last question is not on the list, but I just wanted to know, what are we doing as individuals, as artists, as activists to build up this Black disability community, So yeah, I can go to Keith. Is that good?
Yeah. There you go. So what I'm doing is what I'm doing for the community, first and foremost, is telling my daughters every day that they are Black women, strong Black women, and your identity is not defined by anybody other than yourself. I have to say that not only to my daughters, but to my son, whose mother happens to be white, i.e. I had my own Barack Obama. So, but what we're doing, other than that, is really being present in the issues, engaging in the issues, and asking and seeking out those who are not even the ones who are at the forefront, but the people who are actually dealing with the issues. We don't need to go to national platforms. We have Black people around the corner from us. How many Black women we know with disabilities? Like, we know them. So we have the entree into that. So I think what we're doing is elevating their issues. I'm trying to be here for sex workers, feminists, trans, however you define yourself in that space. Social justice doesn't really, like for me, doesn't have a melanin count. If you can't value a human, period, then I need to be in that fight so that they can have their humanity valued.
And that's what I'm doing. I'm doing what Dr. John Henry Clark said. Take that what you're good at and use that to build your people. So I'm taking what I'm good at. I'm taking my illustration, my graphic design ability, and I'm telling our story from a Black perspective. Now, no white studio that's using Black actors with Black in the title. No, I'm telling an actual Black story from a Black perspective, particularly a Black disabled perspective. Feel me? To let you know that we have more in common than we do in differences. Maybe on the surface level we have a lot difference, but on the deeper level, on the emotional level, on the spiritual level, we have a lot more in common. Feel me? I feel like if we find that commonality between us, we'll be able to build together. Because we seem to be able to find a commonality between us and every other group, which always seem to backfire on us. So I feel like if we could take that same level of effort and actually apply it to each other, we'll be able to get somewhere. So as of right now, I'm using my illustration, my comic books, my poetry until something, and this showing another side of Black intellectualism, you feel me? And until the creator drops something else in my lap, I'm gonna use what I have.
Yeah, thank you. Leroy, yeah, for me, my work, this is a lifelong, I guess it work, it's not a 9 to 5, it's a lifelong, struggle, a lifelong creation, from working in the nonprofits to starting my own nonprofit for people of color, from poetry, from Krip-Hop to, this international disabled African tour that we're doing in July, to, my writings, to my books, trying to add to what's been there, and really recognizing our ancestors, from Harry Tubman that had a disability to Al Hitler, the jazz singer. So it's, I know for myself, I've always wanted to and always do research my history as a Black disabled man, and knowing that, you know, this is not new. It's just something that needs to be added on, and something that I hope, you know, future generations, you know, from, you know, a Black kid in the Bronx, Black disabled kid in the Bronx, can now go to YouTube and say, oh, okay, you know, there's Krip-Hop, there's Otiss paintings, there's Latif book, you know, that's new, because back in the 80s and 70s, you know, we didn't have the internet, you know, so I know for myself, I always felt that I was the only Black disabled man out there. So, you know, for me, just continuing doing the work, you know, and continue building, and I love these talks, you know, I think it's way overdue for Black people, Black men with disabilities, you know, to really come together and talk and have really conversations, because everywhere else we're not there. From politics to art to, you know, mainstream, whatever, we're not there. So I want to thank you all for, you know, continuing to be here and continuing to, you know, add your voice to what's going on today. So Latif, and after Latif, we can say bye-bye.
I think that Krip-Hop Nation is a good platform to start a Black disabled movement with the connection of Black artists with disabilities from all over the world. That is building a base where an international Black disabled movement can develop. And since Invalid is doing groundbreaking work, and I am doing work with the Persons with Disabilities Ministry in my church and in my writing, so let us continue to build. No, I don't think intersectional and intersectiona.
All right, people, thank you so much. We're going to do this next month.
I quit.
No, you can't quit. I'm going to shut this off. We can continue talking if we want. I'm going to shut the recorder off, okay?
All right.
Why? You quit.